Got it.
All right. Hey, everybody. It's Alicia and Rocco. We're super excited to have you here today.
Absolutely.
We're going to give everybody just 2 minutes to jump on. So if you are watching in the Facebook group, fantastic. Welcome. If you want to just go and put in the comments, let us know where you're from. And as always, if you want to put your goals in there, I'm loving that as well. I always like to know what I can do to help hold you guys accountable.
So I'll be every once in a while, Alicia, hitting the mute button as I cough. I used to do years ago, I used to do a radio show, and they always had those cough buttons on there where you could just kind of sneeze, cough, do whatever you got to do and just mute yourself out. And I got to do that on Zoom here with my little sore throat activity. But
yeah, I know how that is. I used to be on radio too. I didn't know one more thing we have in common. What that was actually my first career was in radio, on air.
Was it
and
really?
Yeah, sales and marketing right out of college.
Yeah. No, I just did we used to do a lot of recruiting, and we did a weekly show. We used to call it Career Path Radio. And anyway, that was a long time ago. We're going way back before the gray hair.
Yeah, you and me both, my friend. Nice. Well, it looks like we got some people on, so welcome. We'll go ahead and get started. If you guys can still, again, just chime in those comments, and we'll try and answer them best we can. So what we're going to be talking about today is how to build a massive referral network in as little as 5 minutes a day, so you can prosper in any market without cold calling realtors, and even if you're brand new and you just got licensed. So to be clear, you're not going to become a top performing LO like me just by watching this presentation. Okay. At first, I just wanted to prevent myself from being a homeless and jobless and not have a skill that could get me paid consistently. Right. But the reality is, what we want everybody to do is be completely focused. Okay. So whatever you're doing now, just go ahead and close your devices, close your email, shut everything down, put your phone on silent, turn it upside down. And if you've heard me say this before, there's two types of work in your work for business. One is working in your business, which is where you're answering the phone, taking loan applications, getting docs sent out, doing pre-approvals, going to closings. And the other is working on your business. And that's what we're going to do for the next hour and a half or so. And that's why it's super important for you guys to stay focused, so you can get all the information and you can go ahead and start building a massive pipeline. Or if you already have one, you're going to be able to add to your massive pipeline. So again, go ahead and close everything out. Don't have any other social media open except for this one that you've got going. Put your phone on silent, turn it upside down.
Have a notebook, right? Take some notes, and you will definitely learn some stuff here today for sure. That's a promise given. So
absolutely, yes. This information that you leave with today, you can act on it right away. So take good notes. Thanks, Rocco. Yeah. So just to mention the earnings disclaimer, and then I'll get into my bio. Just so whatever your goal is, I really just started in loan in the mortgage industry, probably just like most of you, right? I just, wanted to have a decent living and, have a skill that would definitely pay the bills. I got more than I ever could dream of. I started this business in 2003 as a loan officer at a broker shop. And it's been such an amazing ride. I can tell you, right now where our YouTube channel is, over 200,000 views on YouTube, 12,000 hours of LO tips and tricks watched. I've become a #1 best-selling author, 2 #1 best-selling books, Pulitzer Prize nominee. I've spoken at Harvard twice. I love coaching you guys. I love helping you make more money. I love helping you actually make more money and then have more free time to spend it with and on those that you love, so that you're not stuck to your phone 24/7. I'm going to tell you a little story about what's actually very similar to what's actually going on right now. After I was in the industry about 5 years, you guys know what happened 2007 and 8, huge crash. I lost pretty much everything I had and had to start over. So the times that we are in right now are not exactly the same, but they're pretty close. And there's still some more challenging times that will unfold in the next few months. So what I chose to do is to double down. So I actually opened my first branch in 2008. Everybody thought I was nuts. Actually, everybody thought I was nuts in 2003 when I started in the business. They're like, the refi boom is over. I'm like, I think I'm going to try purchase. So I started with purchase first, then did refi, then added different loan programs and added builders. So I've been super fortunate. The bottom line is, and I'll quote Tony Robbins, he says, if you survive and work hard during the winter, which is what we're in now, you will absolutely thrive in all the other seasons, spring, summer, fall, and fall's when we reap the harvest, right? So I'm going to be introducing my partner, Rocco, in just a little bit. He'll be joining us later in the presentation. 20 years, and I'll talk about his bio a little bit later, but 20 years of prospecting and sales excellence as an executive. He knows exactly how to get the prospecting done. So it's super successful. And we want you guys to be successful. That's why we're running this training for you today. I want to do everything I can to contribute to your success. So just a little bit other information for you. I mean, I've written 2 best-selling books. I've had the pleasure of being on Fox, Fox, NBC, ABC, CBS, Wall Street Journal, and Wall Street Radio Network. The actual 2 are both affiliated with Wall Street Journal, but they're separate. I've been on CW, so many great opportunities to meet so many amazing people. And the bottom line is, it all started from and comes down to, I'm a mortgage loan officer just like you. So I'm in the trenches with you guys every single day. I know exactly what's going on in the market. And I'm happy to share this information with you because it is a game changer. So also just to let you know too, it's not like I officially did retire right before COVID in 2020, end of 2019, and couldn't travel. So I got back in the business, and I don't do anything half-baked, if you will. So decades of proven success as running branches and as a loan officer then and now. This belt I actually just won in December. So, and
where did you get that from, Alicia?
So that's actually the company I originate with. I won that for December. And even though my main focus is absolutely coaching and contributing in other ways as well in the real estate industry, I have a few other companies, I still love to originate. So with my little part-time hustle, here's my 10 closed deals I had at the end of last year and won the belt. So super happy about that. And then as always, I'm proud of the other awards too, because those have to do with customer service awards. And that 5-star one actually for 2020, 2021, 2022, 23 consistently puts me year after year in the top 2% of loan officers in the entire nation. And I don't say that to brag. I say that to just share with you that I get your struggles. I understand what you're going through, especially in this market right now. So my goal for you today is to show you how to take control of your mortgage business and your referral network so you can have more time to do what you love, right? I just shared some of what I love, some of my hobbies: kayaking, cycling. I love to go wine tasting. I love to travel. I just got back from a week in DC. I just went to go see the cherry blossoms. I'm so fortunate and blessed. And I've actually been working remotely like that since way before COVID. The nice thing about since COVID is you guys can do that too if you choose to do that. So
Alicia, there's a, you know, in my world, I've heard many times before, and look, I've got to edify you here a little bit further, because I mean, just in some of the accomplishments that you've had, I mean, the purpose for some of this is that sometimes it's okay to be a copycat. You just have to make sure that you're copying the right cat. And I think that sometimes, as I know you, you're such a humble person that you don't talk about some of the successes that you've had and that sort of thing. Your goal is to help people. I know it's really important, that sort of thing, but I want to encourage everybody to, when she said before about focus and listening and drilling down, you don't get the opportunities to talk very often to the top 2% in the industry that are willing to pour into you. And so anyway, I know that we got a lot of ground to cover here, but I just want to help try and set the stage for that.
Thanks, Rocco. Yeah, I'm not great at talking about myself. So I just do what I do, and I'm just super happy, and I love it. And I feel like I'm just so fortunate and blessed every day. And that is why I like to give back and I like to share. So thanks, Rocco.
Of course. Yeah.
So my goal again for you guys, if you're completely new to being a mortgage loan officer, or you've been in the industry a while, but you're not fully in control of your lead generation, and you want to take control so you actually can control your income. Because the bottom line is, when you prospect correctly, your pipeline gets built, you close deals, and you control your income. If you control that beginning step is the most important. So you're in the right place today. If you're in the mortgage business right now and you look like this is not fun. We actually polled in the Facebook group, and we polled our email list. And here are some of the challenges that we got. I'm just going to read this to you. You're in the right place if you need a successful approach to establishing reliable referral partners. If you can't get an initial FTF appointment with a top producer, they are first face-to-face appointment, for those of you who aren't familiar with the FTF term. If you can't get an appointment with a top producer, they already have an LO. You're in the right place. We're going to help you figure that out. If you don't know how to consistently obtain active, qualified buyers before they go to an agent, this is key, because once you control the buyers, and actually, if you can control the sellers, you're the one that gives the realtors the deals. I actually have one in process right now, just went under contract. The sales price is 1.29 million. I gave that deal to my realtor. Do you think he's loyal to me? So anything he gets, I get, because when I have, I give. And that kind of price point in today's market is a game changer. And actually, I had that go under contract while I was out of town last week, handled the whole thing, good to go. We're about to have a 9-day clear to close, so I'm loving it. Anyway, you're also in the right place if you don't know, if you're not going to control your business, right? If you don't really know where your leads are coming from, right? If you're not sure, or if you're getting crap leads, if you need home buying strategies to talk to agents that make you look like an advisor instead of just another lender, if you need scripts to connect with those realtors, we have those. You're in the right place. And most of all, my favorite, if you hate cold calling realtors, we have solutions for you today. You're absolutely in the right place. If you're struggling with breaking into realtor lender rotation, which I don't even believe in, I don't want to be in rotation. I'm going to be your lender.
I don't know what that means.
So, right. And this is how you guys make these partnerships last forever. We're going to talk about today. And if you're also struggling, some people said they were struggling with knowing how exactly they add value. What's the unique sales proposition? We're going to talk about those things today. So super excited and glad you guys are here. So, or again, this is the right? If you guys don't know what to say when you're adding value. So we have that. So real quick, this presentation is not for you. If you want a quick, rich, lottery style magic ticket to take you from 0 to 20 closed loans, that's not about, we don't have that for you today. I think that's bait and switch. It's very challenging, especially in this market. And I never promise on anything I can't deliver on. So if you want a 0 to 20 deal in the next 30 days, this is not for you. If you want an antiquated mortgage business and you're looking for old school tactics, we're going to have some back to basic tactics, but we're not going to use old tactics like cold calling 40 realtors, completely antiquated before and since caller ID, even more so since COVID. If you are willing to listen to every guru on a daily basis and weed through every mortgage coach on social media to figure out the right strategy for you, you can just stop right now. That's not what this is about. If you want to reinvent the wheel, right? If you're not really here to listen, learn, and execute, again, this presentation is not for you. And if you are not an action taker and not willing to put in the initial hard work to get things set up and take control of your referral generation and the future of your business, then again, this is not for you. But if you are the opposite of all those things, then let's get going. So for starters, everything you know about referral generation is wrong, okay? And here's the kicker, it's not your fault, right? When I was an LO, I was first told I wouldn't make money for at least the 6 months. I wouldn't make any money for at least the first 6 months. I was told I had to be available 24/7 around the clock for realtors and clients. I was told I needed to attend open houses every weekend. I needed to cold call 40 realtors a day. And Rocco's favorite, I need to show up at the realtors' offices for surprise visits with rate sheets, donuts, candy, and refill that candy jar.
You don't have candy on your slides, but I remember you telling me that's some of those initial stories. And for those that go back on that other slide, which says this isn't for you, what Alicia can also teach you how to do, not in this presentation, she can teach you how to be a professional candy hander-outer.
That's a whole other course.
That's a whole nother, we got a whole nother Facebook group for that and everything, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So basically you guys have been taught to be like this, right? Every single text you send to somebody, you know, hey, just remembering, right? Hey, I sell real estate. I do real estate loans. That's me, right? And that's I just love this slide. It's so funny. Thanks. Shout out to Dwayne, our marketing team guy. It's true. And the thing about this is then you were viewed as the opposite of somebody who people are delighted to work with and viewed as an advisor and an expert, and more like somebody desperate, just begging for the business, right? I never want to be in that position.
Yesterday, I was driving out in the car and I just had on one of the news radio stations out. I don't even know why. I think my wife had it on the car and it was just left on when I was driving in there. And they were talking about the subject was doing business with friends and family. And they're having people call in saying, who likes it? Who doesn't like it? Does it feel weird? Is it awkward? And that sort of thing. And there was a lot of conversation that reminded me of this particular photo here of sometimes like, hey, if you don't learn, and we're going to teach you some of that today, but if you don't learn how to do this stuff the right way, then this is absolutely, you might not even know it, but people who are close to you, they might have a different opinion of you than they're sharing with you if you're not going about it the right way, and you might not even know it.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. So, and back when I started, even though I was closing deals, it just didn't feel good. Like I felt schlocky. I felt salesy. And my prior career was in radio sales. So I'm not used to feeling schlocky. I didn't like it at all. And you guys know, I mean, put a 1 in the chat, put a 1 in the Facebook. If you guys are starting to feel burnt out right now, right? How many deals are you chasing that don't close? If you even have any deals, if your phone is even ringing. So for me, I spoke about this a little bit, 2008 happened and all the hard work and partnerships I developed, they vanished because most of my top producing partners got out of the business. So I had to restart my entire mortgage business from scratch. And I've done it once because I did it 2 years before that because I moved. So started in 2003, moved, had to restart in 2006. The market crash restarted in 2008. So, and then I kind of restarted again in COVID because I told everybody I was out. They were kind of freaking out when I was leaving, but they were happy to have me back. So thank goodness.
It can be a lonely feeling, when you're getting started, when you're restarting, whether it's something new or even, sticking to something like this, like, it's just you, maybe the credenza at the front of the office with nobody else there. If you're lucky, maybe there's a secretary there or something like that. But that can be a lonely feeling. But when you have the experience and the systems in place to make it happen, being willing to bet on yourself, you come out on top when you have the right systems, right?
Yeah, I literally can remember in 2007, when the crash first started, I went to my office and I was the only loan officer in the office. And obviously we didn't work at home then, right? We didn't work remotely. You still went to the office. And literally the sales manager had quit. All the other LOs had quit. I went from making like, I don't know, over $500,000 a year to like, I don't know, 40 grand. Like it was a big shift, but I rebuilt everything. But when I looked around and I looked in the office and it was me and the receptionist.
Yeah.
That was it. I was like, all right, well, why am I going to sit here and make this company money? I'll go make my own branch. And I did. So, and the rest is history. Yeah. But I kept working on my business. Like I said, even when the branch managers quit and I was the only person in the office, and I was able to discover what I'm about to share with you today. So, and since then, I get these great, amazing opportunities. For you guys who don't know all the names, that's Tony Robbins, Barry Habib, who's a leader in the industry, several television experiences that I got to be interviewed on. Like I said before, CBS, NBC, ABC, CW, Fox several times, New York, Las Vegas, Fort Lauderdale, Charlotte, all over the place, LA. So really fun ride. And on the next slide, in case you guys don't know, that's me and Alan Greenspan. And that's one of the pictures I'm most proud of. He the longest sitting Federal Reserve chairman in the entire history of the Federal Reserve, who runs our entire industry, pretty much. So that was an honor. Dean Graziosi, this is NBC Baltimore. This is ABC Washington, D.C. And just for fun, I threw in another picture I had with Newt Gingrich that we did a book signing together. And last, but certainly not least, always got to show respect to the veterans. This is my interview I did last fall with John Bell, current director of VA Loan Guarantee. And you guys can go to the YouTube channel and find that if you want to see it. And these are the guys who run the show. The bottom one is Michael Frew, who's the former director of VA Loan Guarantee, and Mark Connors, who, if you guys are familiar with the military relocation professional certification through the NAR, National Association of Realtors, Mark Connors, the gentleman on the right, is the person that developed that, in case you guys don't know. So great gentleman. In case you have not seen that, also it was just announced that I'm going to be speaking at the VA Lenders Conference in Kansas City in the first week in May. So I'm super excited to go have some great barbecue. And you guys can find both of those videos online. So what's a myth? You have to rely only on realtors for all your referrals, and they all already have lenders they work with. Okay. That's absolutely not true. And in case you did not know it, here's the thing that always, I have a challenging day once in a while. If I forget that, I remember that the average loan officer makes more than the average realtor. And I don't say that to put anybody down, but if you have a realtor that's rude on the phone to you, it probably has nothing to do with you. It's probably has to do with, them having their own challenges in their industry and in their career, especially right now, which is why what we're going to share with you is an absolute game changer, because you control the leads. Okay. So, because if you're randomly cold calling realtors, the odds are they're not sending you deals because they don't have any deals. And most of my coaching programs have to do with skills, but a fair amount is mindset, right? So if you're randomly cold calling realtors, it only is messing with your head if they don't take your call or they don't want to do business with you because they may not have business. But in the meantime, it's messing with your psychology because you think you're missing out. It's absolutely not true. But we're going to turn this upside down.
Yeah,
So,
Alicia, I can tell you, again, I'm not, I don't have the bio that you have there. But I've been in prospecting and sales for my entire adult life. And I've trained, I've been in the trenches. The only reason I know how to train is because I work in the trenches always. So I want to stay close to it. And what you just said about mindset and being able to be able, sometimes you can go through the numbers, but each defeating number that you go through, if you allow yourself to get inside of your own head, you might not even realize it, but you are projecting yourself downward in a spiral of weakness. And it comes across, the energy comes across when the person does pick up the phone, meaning that you get told no by the 8th time, your energy level is much, 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 much less. And you almost come across sympathetic. I've been there and I still go through it to this day at times. So that's really one of the key elements, is you got to have the right mindset for it, for sure. So absolutely.
definitely. So you guys let me know if this resonates with you. Have you ever felt betrayed by a referral partner? I'm going to tell you a short story real quick. So I used to belong to BNI, Business Networking International. This is actually this story is how I discovered and created my program, Hidden Referral Secrets. So there was a homeowner's insurance agent that was in my BNI group. There was a realtor in my BNI group, and BNI believes givers gain. So you give referrals, but they're usually 1, 1, 1, right? That triangle. So for example, the homeowner's insurance agent would give the referral to the realtor, and maybe the realtor gave the referral to me. Or I gave a referral to the homeowner's insurance agent and she gave it to the realtor, right? But it was never a two-way street on all of these. And if you just think about it, instead of 1, 1, 1, we could have had 2, 2, 2, right? Instead of 3, you have 6 for every single transaction or every single referral partner. But one day I went into the homeowner's insurance agent, and for 3 years, consistently, I gave referrals because you're supposed to give referrals. I would show up at the meeting and I would give that homeowner's insurance agent a refi referral, not just purchase. Like I always wanted to over deliver for my referral partners. And one day I went into her office and she had business cards from another mortgage lender. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, do you not even get how I pretty much single-handedly help you build your business?
Right.
She was a home insurance agent, left a bigger insurance company, started her own company, and she was just taking all she could take and not giving me anything. So that's how I created Hidden Referral Secrets. I'm not going to tell you about the whole program, but I will tell you there's no reason you can't take control of your own referral generation. And I'm going to share the story with you about Brandon. I taught Brandon Hidden Referral Secrets, and you guys can go to the YouTube channel and see his video testimonial yourselves, where you can see him punching up the numbers, right? I taught him Hidden Referral Secrets, and he estimated that it was going to lead to an additional $130,000 in revenue generated. And in fact, he is one of the few loan officers that I know and that I've even ever heard of that actually made more money in 2022 than 2021. And you guys know what happened. The entire industry made more money in 2021 than 2022. And Brandon is the opposite. And he's so successful because he took advantage of Hidden Referral Secrets. And then Julie, she discovered this. She used the system, made 1 phone call, got 2 closings. Amazing. So here are the 3 secrets to taking control of your referral generation. 1, no sweat prospecting. The number 1 reason for lack of sales is not skill or talent. It's an empty pipeline. We're going to show you the fast, easy way to start filling it. Secret number 2, go back to that gorilla chasing the kid, right? Non-sleazy prospecting. Why grinding hard and constantly cold calling actually hurts your status position with realtors and keeps them from sending you deals. Secret number 3, no time prospecting. We're going to teach you how to semi-automate your prospecting in just 1 hour per week, even if you're super busy. Okay. And with that, I'm also just going to tell you a little bit more about Rocco. He's an experienced executive with thousands of hours of hours in sales consulting, sales training, and accountability coaching. He specializes in helping companies hire, train, and manage expert sales teams without all the traditional costs, which is what we're going to share with you guys today.
Alicia, listen, again, I hope leading up to this point, there's a couple of things that I just want to put some qualifiers here before we dive in here for a few minutes on stuff I want to share with the group. The first one being this is that, I'm a heavy believer in a multi-channel prospecting approach. What I mean by that is when we talk about the non-sleazy prospecting way to go about things and how do you do that and what does that mean, we're going to share that with you. I mean, you get the idea in your head of the gorilla chasing the kid on the bike and that sort of thing. And I am not here to condemn outbound phone calls, emails, text messages, smoke signals. I don't, to me, they're all in the same category, but there's a right way and a wrong way to take every approach, in my opinion, right? So some of this stuff in here that we're going to show you and talk to you today, one of the things that I've taught for years is that when you understand the rules of the game, we're talking about psychology, rules of influence, things of that nature that we're going to talk about. You got to learn the rules of the game before you can start to get out on the outer edges and start to, and I don't want to say break them a bit, but you get on the fine line of things. You know how to shortcut things and be able to move through what you want quicker. So the ask here is to just try and stay within the bounds of this and saying, if I can just go through this process of some things we're going to talk about here for a bit, and I'm willing to go through it, and I learn the way to do things, then I can start to bend and be a little bit more flexible in my approach moving forward. Okay, so that's the first thing that I wanted to share with you. But all this stuff, it's not intimidating as it might sound. So as I go through some of this, again, I'm asking you to take some notes and pay attention to what we're talking about here. But when you see words, again, like no cold calling, no stalking realtors on social media, clunky CRMs and coding to deal with and that sort of thing. Also, no sales funnel for you have to design. Usually, I work with a lot of independent people as well. And sometimes they want to take ownership of reinventing the wheel. That was one of the initial things that Alicia had said in the beginning. This isn't the presentation for you if you want to reinvent the wheel. This is for somebody who wants to learn how to get the wheel moving because the wheel is already there. So some of those things that you might normally be stressed out about, we remove some of that from the equation. But I always want you to know there's a time and place for any type of prospecting channel that you use, whether it is, we can't do ESP directly with a prospect. So we do have to communicate with them. But how we get there, it's really a multi-channel approach. And that's what we'll talk about. But the entire system that we're going to show you, it can actually be run, right on your cell phone at any time and anywhere. You heard Alicia talk about her liking to travel and that sort of thing. I can promise you, just because I know her so well, even when she was in Washington, D.C., looking at the flowers and the other thing that she's doing, kayaking and that sort of thing, when she wants to be able to get some work done, she can pull out her device and she'll get it done from a hotel room or wherever she's at to make sure that she has the ability to do the things that allow her to have that freedom. I was taught by a mentor a long time ago. He said, if you are willing to do the things now that you don't get paid for, later on, you'll get paid for things that you no longer have to do.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
And so that's just something there to consider with some of this. So as much as that, I want you to feel comfortable and know that this is easy stuff, but it's still stuff, right? And most people don't even want to do stuff. And, if you don't discipline yourself to do some of this, somebody else is ultimately going to discipline you to do what they want you to do. That's just the way that it works. And we talked about this in the beginning, the number one reason for lack of scale is not lack of sales. It's not your ability to sell. It's not your talent level, your charisma, or any of that. We talked about it's an empty pipeline. Now, here's the thing: the beauty of some of that stuff is once you kind of realize that, very often people go, well, hey, come in and be a sales trainer. I always say we're going to get to sales, right? We've got to teach you to prospect first, and those are two very different things. So when you came aboard into this industry and you learned how to present your loan programs and your interest rates and everything else that I've since I've gotten to know Alicia so well, that I've learned about your industry, the truth of the matter is this: ultimately that's putting the cart before the horse. What we're teaching you is really what prospecting is about. They're two different hats. Now, in your industry, the vast majority of you watching this, you wouldn't be watching this if it wasn't your job to wear both hats. Some businesses are different. Sometimes they have prospectors and the other people are the ones that do the sales. Sometimes it's both, right? But the beauty of your industry, you get paid well to do both. And that skill set,
Really
it's
well.
something that you want to have, right? So again, it's the empty pipeline, but it's not your ability or anything like that. We will get to sales, and you will learn how to be a phenomenal salesperson. Look, if you do the prospecting right, that's half the battle right there. Not just because you have more people to talk to, but because your closing ratio on your sales is going to be dramatically higher. So if you prospect 10 people and you want to get into the presentations, you will see interest rates are going to go up and down, markets are going to change. It doesn't matter. But the good news about your industry and your business, you are in a relationship building business. It's not going to change no matter how Chat GPT or whatever else is out there in the world is not going to change the fact that when it comes down to somebody needing to invest that kind of money and take out a loan and that sort of thing, they need somebody to hold their hand, look them in the eye, and tell them everything is going to be okay. So there are always going to be people needing places to live. As rates go up and down, your market conditions will change, but your ability to stand out and shine in that industry is always going to be there. Alicia's proof of it. She's been through every up and down market that there is. So going back to the reason why pipelines are empty, it has nothing to do with your ability to sell, but it has everything to do with prospecting. And when I say consistent prospecting, I'm talking about consistent prospecting the right way. Because as we already mentioned, you can actually make 30 phone calls, you can reach out and send a text message to 50 people, whatever the case may be. But if you're not systemic in what you're doing and you don't have the confidence and the mindset when you approach it, you're going to wind up, self-defeating over time, a downward spiral. I always say that confidence to me is not necessarily knowing absolutely that I can do something. It's knowing that I can do something. I mean, it can be learnable, right? So even if you're struggling right now saying, well, I'm not confident because I'm new, all you have to do is have confidence in yourself that you'll get there. And that's the first step. And that's where you have to start at. So getting to that mindset that Alicia was talking about, that's where we want you to be at. That's within your control. And it's something there that's necessary to keep the pipeline for. But to break this down a bit, these are the main three purposes for doing your prospecting. And you know where most of you want to be at? My guess is that every time you pick up the phone, your goal is to get right here, to set an appointment. And good for you if that happens. But when I approach prospecting, when I teach people to approach prospecting, to me, that's secondary. If you can understand that every time that you reach out to a prospect, what you are doing first is building familiarity, that takes a lot of pressure off you. A lot. And that's really what you're doing. Each time if you leave a voicemail, you send an email or any form of digital communication or anything at the, canary sends a bird message or whatever the case may be, you're building familiarity so that when it comes to your mindset and keeping yourself in the right spot, don't get mad when you're prospecting. Don't get down on yourself or anything else. People are starting to know who you are now, right? So if you say, what's the point? I called 100 people, or I sent 100 emails or text message or whatever it is that you're doing right now. If you just approach it with the idea that first you're building familiarity, then you actually got your job done, right? You're making those exposures. Now, the second component is gathering intel, because you have a big giant list and we could debate all day long if it's a good list, a bad list or whatever, but we all know people, right? And so what you have to get good at doing is you have to start weeding out the people that aren't a good fit for you and getting more information on the people that are. So gathering intel is the second goal when you're prospecting. And that last one, setting an appointment, again, that's ultimately where you get to, but you have to understand that it's not just one or nothing. I don't get an appointment, so I did a bad job prospecting. That's not how we want you to think about it. Now, then when it comes to this secret number 2 about non-sleazy prospecting, when it comes to the idea of grinding hard and constantly cold calling where it could hurt your status and position, if you have a list of 20 realtors and you are calling them every single day or whatever the case may be, and you're just constantly pounding the same people over and over again with the same message, you are doing what everybody else is doing, right? And that can be really, really something that could set you back. Like sometimes you can do more harm than good. Again, I am not saying don't ever pick up the phone and use it. It's a very good communication tool. It's worked for an extremely long time. What I'm saying is strategically how you go about when and where to do some of that matters more than anything else. So we want to set you up here to really kind of remove some of that and give you a way to feel comfortable and know where you're at when it comes to your prospect. I'm going to talk about these 4 levels of influence here in a couple of minutes, and you could start to categorize your marketable universe. And that's just your list of potential prospects and referral partners. But the thing is that cold calling has never really been super easy. As you can see here, according to a study by Baylor University, less than 2% of cold calls actually result in a meeting or sale. And Alicia, I want you to jump in here, but I just want to restate, the vast majority of cold calls that get made, they're done at the wrong time, the wrong way, and everything else behind it. So when you kind of look at it in a vacuum, it's one of those things that really be able to consider there is that if you are going to use the phone, how can you prevent yourself from being here? But Alicia, any thoughts there before I jump to the next slide? Because I got a couple of things I want to get to. I know we got to start moving a little quicker here.
Yeah, so I was going to say, you definitely, the challenge with cold calling is you automatically come in as unwelcome pest and you want to be a welcome guest. So one of the other things we want to do in the prospecting phase is sort out the wrong prospects. So there are definitely methods for that. And I have a lot of videos on those as well. But you want to make sure you're working with and reaching out to the right agents, right? Because I talked about, you can reach out to the agent that doesn't have any business. That's not really going to help you, right? If you have marketing ideas and co-branding opportunities and business for them, that's great. Then you can build all those. But if you're just starting out, you may not have that. So you do want to go reach out to small mid-level agents that are growing. And, everybody says, when's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. When's the next best time? Today. So that's what we're talking about. And really all you have to do is 1 to 20 touches for existing contacts and 20 to 50 new contacts, and you will build your pipeline.
Yeah, it's the shortcut to the shortcut, right? Sometimes the straight line is the way to do it here. And then, that some of these numbers from 2011. Well, how's it stack up now? What's really changed now, right? And not really in the way you might expect, because, again, we're not going to litigate all this data here. But the one thing that I want you to know more than anything else here is that the percentage of calls that are received right now, like since the advent of caller ID and call blocking services and everything else, like using the phone can be the most effective tool that you have. Actually, I'm not even going to say using the phone, because that could mean 1,000 different things. But I'm saying making a phone call on your phone. It can be the most effective tool that you have, but you have to understand when and where that you're using it, or otherwise it's self-defeating. So we'll continue to get into that. Now, if you're only cold calling, this is what you're up against, right? There's another, you find that one, or was that Dwayne as well?
That's right? Dwayne. I love it.
I had a response.
Laugh, you guys. We have like the best opportunity in business ever to make so much money and help people get a new home or help them with investment properties so they can have cash flow and retire. Like, it's an amazing, joyous opportunity we have. And any chance I get to laugh some more, I'll take it.
How about this one though? Losing your influence and status with the potential partner. So how many people I've kind of gotten the sense where, I don't know if it's you all, but had the prospect maybe brush them off and felt like they were looking at like this guy through the phone, right?
Yeah, it's hilarious. So you guys have been great about participating, so I thank you. But how many of you guys, if I feel your pain, right? If this has ever happened with you, put a 1 in the chat. If you've said to yourself, I don't know how to stand out, I don't know how to add value, I don't know what my unique sales proposition is, just go ahead and put a 1 in the chat. Because this happens to me too. Not often, but it does. And that's not what we all make mistakes, but if you can learn from mine in 2008 and 2000 and, all these other past things, I mean, it's cruise control now. And I want you guys to have that advantage. So if this has ever happened to you, absolutely just put a 1 in the chat. And
it's not your, we say it's not your fault, because again,
you haven't been taught correctly. Everybody gives you the wrong information. That's 20 years old.
Yeah. And not only that, at least I've just seen where it's, again, going back to that cart before the horse thing, and in the organizations I step into and seeing how they wanted to come in and sales training. It's like, well, we have no prospects. Why are we training presentations and sales and closing people when we're not getting people even having conversations to begin with? So there, like you said, outdated systems, and then also, I guess, the wrong order of training people as well. And so it looks like that there are plenty of, and you can go out and people and search social media and see it all, that there's plenty of gurus that are still teaching the same old stuff out there, despite the stats there that we just showed you and that sort of thing. Truth is that there are better ways and strategies to connect with new referral partners. So I mentioned before that I wanted to share with you about these 4 levers of influence here to prospect successfully. And this is where you can do this without being the unsleazy prospector or salesperson there that we talked about there. So I want to break this down for you all. And this is kind of everything that I want you all to really take some notes on and understand at a high level. Don't stare at the slide yet. Look at me. Every single one of us has a marketable universe. They say that on our mobile devices, the average person has about 200 contacts stored in there. We have a few hundred Facebook friends, 700 LinkedIn connections, Twitter followers, you name it. By the time it's all said and done, the average person has a direct link to contact roughly around 2,000 people. So for some of the more, jokingly efforts that we put in here, I want you to put something serious in there. I want to ask you all a real serious question. How many of you have a systemic way to keep in touch with on a regular basis for your entire marketable universe to let them know what's going on in your business? Because again, in your industry, it pertains to everybody, your referral partners, direct contacts, whatever it may be. And this is important here now, because when I asked this question, if I had you all live in an audience and I'd be able to have you come in and chime in here, some of the responses that I've gotten in live events, it comes down to, well, yeah, I might have, somebody I went to college with that I'm connecting with on LinkedIn. I haven't talked to them in 10 years, right? And I see that they're in real estate, but if I just start contacting them now, it would be weird, right? Or yeah, I've got my cousin, I talk to him all the time, but we don't really talk about business or whatever the case may be. So what I want to do is I want to put this together for you here so you can understand a way to be able to approach everybody and be systemic. So you will have people chasing you. You will have a pipeline chasing you instead of you chasing a pipeline. So if you take your 2,000 contacts that you have now, and you can keep adding new realtors to it and everything else that Alicia tells you to do, but I'm going to simplify this and then you can get more granular for your business, is that everybody that you have in your marketable universe, every single one of them falls in one of these 4 categories, either awareness, enrichment, motivate, or credibility. Now, I'm going to tell you what they mean here, and this will make sense for you really quick. The first thing is awareness, okay? So in your contacts, you probably have some people who who they are, but they don't know who you are. So level 1 for you, the first level of influence, your goal is to be able to make those people who are not aware of who you are become aware of you. And there's a couple of different levers that we can pull on underneath. I'm going to break those down for you in a second, but I just want you to stay with the bold. Underneath of awareness is enrichment. And this is where probably the vast majority of your marketable universe lives. These are people who who they are, and they know who you are, but there might be a pretty wide gap on how much you have a relationship with them, right? And when I say enrichment, we talk about adding value. You will absolutely do a lot of harm if you go to that person who you haven't spoken with since college, 20 years, whatever it was, and now you're starting to send them messages about your business, because what you're doing is violating what you need to do first, which is strengthen the relationship enrichment. That's what enrichment is. Before you get to the business of doing your business, you need to build the relationships, okay? So there's a way that you can do that strategically, and we're going to talk about that. You see the bullet points there. But after we've done that, after you've strengthened that relationship, now you can actually start to talk about your business. But you cannot put the cart before the horse. You absolutely 100% have to build that relationship before you can start talking about your business. That's where it gets weird if you don't do it that way. Now, after you've accomplished those first 3, you get to the part of credibility. You've earned the right to actually get them to a spot where they're ready to do business with you. All right. And I hope that makes sense. because if you skip right from, actually, you know what? These two here need to be reversed a little bit. Follow me. Awareness, enrichment, and credibility. Motivate is the last one. If you have built a relationship with somebody and then you started to give them some credibility about your business, meaning that you give them social proof and authority, which we're going to talk about, you've now earned the right to be able to motivate them to take action with you for a meeting or whatever else it is that you're trying to accomplish. Okay. So the way that we do that is by using content and messaging and communications that really enrich those areas for us. So if I was to start, if I didn't know who you were and I wanted to reach out for you the first time because you were on my list, you didn't know who I was, but I'm like, man, I really want to do business with Alicia. The first thing I need to do is I need to be authentic in my communication style. So it's reaching out to Alicia saying, hey, this is me, not hiding behind some automated message or something like that. Spray and pray methodology. Find the people who you want, qualify them, make sure it's who you want to go after, and let them know you're authentically reaching out to them. But when you go to do it, when you're trying to make somebody aware of who you are, be relevant and relatable to their world, not your world, right? So if I see that somebody posted something on social media, I'd say, hey, I saw that you posted something about market movement in the town that you live in, or anything that they have. It doesn't even have to be business related, but you're paying attention to them. So you want to be relevant and relatable to things that they're going to care about, not necessarily something that is most interesting to you. It's like, hey, look at me. I want you to look at me, but not really. I'm trying to pretend that it's about you. So that's what we want to do from an awareness standpoint. Now, from there, after we've done that and they become aware of who we are, now we have to work on strengthening that relationship. And then listen, the easiest way to do that is to share compliments. Do you know that in general, people like people who pay them compliments? If I have two people that are standing identical in front of me, and both of them, they're twins, they say the same thing to me, I can't tell one besides the other, except for 10 minutes before they started a dialogue with me, one of them paid me a compliment and said, boy, you're a really sharp guy. I like you. And if you were to ask me which one of those two people I would potentially do business with, I'm going to go with the person who paid me a compliment. Compliments go such a far way that people really underestimate them. Now, again, going back to being authentic, you don't want to be disingenuous with that. And then the second component when you're building a relationship is where can you add value? And that was one of the questions that was on one of the previous slides that we talked about there. When it comes to that, where can I add value at? Geez, what do I do? Can I share with them? Alicia, is it a good idea for me to share with them a rate sheet or tell them how great my loan products are yet? Is that the right way to go about adding value?
No, and I was just talking about this yesterday. If you click on and off that slide, I updated that typo for you. I was just talking about this yesterday with a loan officer. Still wants to go send out rate sheets on Friday at 5 o'clock. And I'm like, are you trying to make yourself a commodity? Because that's just the way it is. So it's a little, that's exactly what you don't want to do. Because it won't help you. It'll make you just look like everybody else. You want to talk about how to ruin your unique sales proposition, send out rate sheets. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't give the rate when people call and ask you. Absolutely. You want to go over all the different loan programs and things they qualify for, but rate sheets and donuts is a joke. Like we say it as a joke now. So, because it doesn't, that's the worst way you can compete, and it absolutely will not help you stand out.
Okay, so we got our correction here. Okay, thank you for that. So the thing is, now we have the relationship, right? And again, look, don't take all 2,000 people, but if you want to do something, a nice exercise when we wrap up here, take 50 people in your marketing universe, and I want you to put them in one of these 4 categories. Somebody who I don't know, but I want them to know who I am. Somebody who I do know, but I need to build a better relationship with them. Somebody who I've got a great relationship with, but I haven't established a lot of credibility yet with. And that's where I'm going next, because here's the thing, and I say this all the time, Alicia, the best example I could give is my sister, right? My sister, I've got a great relationship with. We're super tight, but we don't talk. She does not, I don't have any credibility because she might think I'm a crappy business person, because I've never tried to demonstrate to her that I'm a good business person, right? And that's maybe some of that's on whatever the case may be. But for me to start saying to her, oh, the next time that you refinance, you should give me that loan. Well, I haven't demonstrated any credibility there with her. Now, how do we demonstrate credibility? The two levers, it's social proof and authority. And you could be saying to yourself, oh, got it. Okay, let me get a testimony, but I'm brand new. I'm not talking about that type of social proof. I'm talking about this type of social proof to what other people are doing. And what I mean by that is if you were getting ready to go to a restaurant and there are two across the street, there's a line for one to get into, and the other one, there's no line. Like immediately you're saying to yourself, I'm going to the restaurant where there's a longer line because there's a reason why people aren't going there. And so if you're brand new in the business, you don't have thousands of testimonies, you're going to be able to share market data, not on what you've done in business, but where the market's going, right? Hey, people are worried about interest rates right now. People are worried about different things. And we're going to be able to give you content and messaging that's going to be able to allow you to show social proof to kind of be like, wow, I'm glad they shared that information with me. They've said I'm really starting to understand their credibility in business. And then the last component is authority, right? Claiming authority is one thing, but being able to leverage somebody else's authority is a whole nother thing. I don't have the 10 slides with pictures of Tony Robbins and everybody else there with me, right? But Alicia has authority. She's the expert. You all know that she's an expert. So by her just introducing me, right, I'm able to be able to gain authority based on what she is actually sharing with you all about me. So I have authority there. So you can go and get an article from Warren Buffett that talks about, the way that the financial markets are going, and you start sharing that with people, you're going to be able to garner some of that authority for yourself there, right? Those are just some things that you're going to continue to learn about as you stay connected to this stuff. But only after have you built the relationship, shown credibility, can you motivate somebody and move them to a call to action. The challenge that with most people have when it comes to their prospecting activities, they're trying to go right from awareness right down to motivate and trying to get that meeting scheduled. All right. And again, these other two levers here, solution alignment and scarcity, this stuff all just lines up, and we won't have time to go into everything here today, how this works for you, but you can make yourself less available, and that will attract more people to you.
I got a realtor blowing up my phone right now.
And then also look, when it comes to solution alignment, questions are the window to somebody's soul. When you learn how to ask the right questions, that's going to allow you to be able to get your meetings as well. And we're going to teach you how to do all that stuff along the way here. So I'm going to move off of that one, but it's just a really, really important key slide there to be able to understand that you've got all these people, you're trying to figure out where to approach them. It's not that you shouldn't be reaching out to them. It's just that you should figure out what category they're in and then use those particular levers of influence within those categories to be able to drive them along. So that's the strategy. Again, there's more training. We've put this training on YouTube, and there's a lot of free information out there. And we've even got some stuff that's gated that will even get you more strength in here so you can take advantage of it. But the other parts there are other parts, the tools that go with the entire system. And that's really what we talk about next. So Alicia, if you want to take a moment here, and I could start to get my device connected here.
So we're going to talk about what you need for an effective prospecting strategy, right? So typically you need all these things. So I'm going to mention CRM, but to be clear, what we're going to share with you is absolutely not a CRM. But if you wanted to have a prospecting strategy on semi-autopilot or autopilot, you need a CRM and a developer to make those changes. I don't even do that because my marketing team does it, because I just don't, that's not what my time is for. My time is for prospecting, coaching loan officers like you, and doing deals. So the other thing I will add is if you guys do have a CRM, again, this is not a CRM. The worst thing you can do is go meet a realtor, never call them again, but dump them in your CRM and then spam the crap out of them. Put yourself in their shoes. If somebody meets you, like, let's say you guys get a recruitment call, right? And you agree to give them your email address. What happens? You get a ton of spam, right? The realtor doesn't want that, right? You have to actually earn the privilege of asking them if they want you to send them updates. Because otherwise, again, you've broken that rule. right? I just want you to use me. It's like, it's, again, put yourself in their shoes, right? You have to stand out from the crowd. You have to use the levers in the correct order, right? But to have an effective prospecting strategy, also, you need a way to track engagement, right? There are some other coaches out there who want you to use an Excel spreadsheet and write down, type in every single call you make. What? Like, maybe in 2010, right? But you don't have to do that now. We're going to show you it in a more effective way. You also need a contact created in your phone with all the links and everything else, right? Your digital business card. Okay. You need a digital business card, regular business cards. Digital business card is by far better. And the other thing I like about the digital business card is when I meet a new prospect, client, realtor, whatever the case may be, I ask them for their number so I can send them my digital business card. And then guess what? Their phone number is in my phone. If you how many of you guys have handed the realtor your card or anybody else? Never hear from them. And you didn't get their card, or they didn't have it, right? They didn't give it to you. So you have no way of ever reaching them again. That's one more reason I love the digital business card. If you also, the other things you would need, sales funnel software, a funnel builder to create funnels for you. And the list can go on. And the list is tens of thousands, right? A copywriter to write those funnels, those sales funnels for you. But what if there is a way that you could do all of this without any of those things and semi-automate it with proven scripts and templates that work?
So this is where they get the best of who you are and really what you do, Alicia, and I've done, because you've over the past almost year and a half now, you've kind of taken everything, and you didn't just, it's one thing to write the book, which you've done, right? And we could talk about it on YouTube videos, we could walk people through it, but sometimes when you all leave here and Alicia pushes you out of the nest here a bit, and it's time to go and get busy with your business, leaving there, let's give you some wings to fly, but let's just not give you your own wings. Let's give you the same wings that Alicia would use for yourself to be able to succeed. All right.
Easy
And
button, easy button.
Yeah. The easy button, whatever you're going to call it. But the thing is that last thing I'll say about prospecting here, and then we're gonna show you guys a tool that Alicia's created here, is that, look, you can do prospecting in chunks, where a little bit of time every single day should be dedicated towards prospecting, regardless of how many other things you have going on. But what I've seen over and over again and we're here now at the 30th of the month, right? Somebody's like, I've got to get something done here. I got to get my prospecting on. And they try and do a whole month of prospecting in one day. And then they say to themselves at the end, wow, that was hard. I'm never doing that again. Right. But I always say the doctor never said eat 30 apples in a day. He says just eat one apple a day. 30 apples a day will make you sick. So what we're sharing here is that when we talk about no sweat, no time prospecting, look, the thing about this, if you just are willing to put a little bit of time in each day and stay consistent and learn these things that we're going through here with you right now, there is no doubt you are going to succeed. It's impossible for you not to succeed if you're willing to follow through with it. As a matter of fact, the calls that I always take from everybody the most is that, stuff makes sense. I just got to execute on it. So Alicia's taking the time to put together a tool that actually is going to allow you to do that. So let's take a quick, we're not going to, go through every nook and cranny of this here, but you're going to get access to this. And there's all the coaching and training in here that you're ever going to need. This is a combination of a self-accountability tool. And we talk about mindset, something there for yourself to be able to know where you're at. But everything that we showed there that people sometimes will build an entire product for, and the new super duper thing with extra whipped cream and everything else that comes with it. And people are spending thousands of dollars on these different tools and tracking systems and coaching and everything else. And they're just getting lost in the weeds instead of just being able to kind of say, okay, I'm going to give myself a very simple system here. So this is the Mortgage Marketing Master app. And when you log into this app for the very first time, don't worry about this dashboard that you see here just yet. We'll get back to it in a minute. The main thing that you're going to know is there's going to be some introductory steps for you to take to get into a 15-day prospecting boot camp. And so the app itself, each and every single day that you follow the coaching videos that are in here, we're going to be having you take some small baby steps on being able to implement everything that we just talked about at a high level when it comes to your contacts and the different levels of influence and sending them the right message at the right time based on the categories that were there, the digital business cards, all these things that will kind of show off and give you a quick tour of here now. And what you're doing is you're learning why you're doing, right? Instead of just saying, okay, we're going to just wait and teach it one day at a time, you're going to actually be able to take advantage of this. And by the time you're done this 15-day prospecting challenge, you're going to be, in the spot where you're going to have plenty, probably more contacts to follow up with than you've ever had before. So, Alicia, where do you want me to start at? What is you think the best area here? Do you want me to have them look at first?
Well, I'm a big fan of the survey, so I would start with maybe start with the digital business card and then do the realtor survey.
Okay, you got it. So gang, look, this is a fun and engaging app that you're gonna have access to. And you'll see there's some little contests and things like that we'll talk about in there. But if I go down the bottom of the app and I hit the more button in the lower right-hand corner, it slides open all the app features. And so again, they all have a purpose and they're all going to help you succeed in your business pretty wildly. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to click on the resources here. And just, from a verbiage standpoint of resources, is anything that can be sent from the app to somebody outside of the app. And if you look, you'll see the same stuff that we talked about before. Look at that: awareness, enrichment, credibility, and motivate. Right, our four levels.
I'm gonna jump in real quick, Rocco. So yeah. I want to read some of the questions that we did have that I want to cover. Okay. So, and because what you're talking about right now will absolutely address this. So, somebody said, I want to grow my business. I know exactly what I'm not doing, and that's making cold calls. You don't have to make cold calls. You can text and send messages and emails and direct message through social media right out of the app. Everything Rocco is going to tell you. And also we had a question about most successful approach to establishing reliable referral partners. This is how you guys do it, by going through this sequence. Because just like Rocco said, and you guys know, the cold calls do not work. Okay. Also, when we're going to come to credibility, this is what you guys need to show, whether you've been in the business for a long time or you're brand new, and Rocco's going to address that too. And then I'll jump in with some other questions later.
Yeah. And again, just for the sake of time, what I promise you in the very first, if you see right here where it says 15-day prospecting bootcamp, I'm just going to hit the plus button. You're going to see everything that you're all talking about there. You'll be able to learn, and we've got videos as well as PDFs that match up with this. That's going to help you do all this stuff. So I'm just going to kind of bop around a little bit on here and show you a couple things. But Alicia was talking about the digital business card, and that's one of the first resources here that I want to show you. And the reason why we have it up here up top and it's highlighted in green is because it can be used really anytime, anywhere. It could be used to start a conversation. It could be used to follow up with somebody. It could be used to get somebody else's contact information. So if I was to just click on this, just to show you what your digital business card will look like to some degree, you'll be able to load in all of your contact information on here, your social media buttons, booking link, everything that you want to be able to have. And you could even load in some other valuable resources so people can find you. Now, different than a traditional business card, and they can QR scan it and to save it to your device. But if I was to give Alicia my business card with all this stuff on here, the chances of her saving more than my email and phone number is slim to none, right? But when we push the digital business card out to somebody, all they have to do is click that save contact button, and everything that's listed on there imports into their device. So how do we get the digital business card to somebody? Well, if I click on this box here, down the bottom, you're going to see I've got multiple ways to share it. I can email it to somebody, I can text it to them, or I could share it to them on Facebook Messenger or any other social media channel that we have. And there's a pre-written message that actually goes out in the information that gets sent. Here, I'll do it this way here so you can see. Oh, there's you, Alicia. Let's do this. So if I had Alicia saved as a contact in there, let's say, hey, here's the link to my digital business card. Now that's a very generic message. You've got the opportunity to do it a bunch of different ways, but she then clicks on it and it'll go right to that information there, and she would click save contact and it's in there, right? So showing you how to use the app is not really going to get you overly excited here today. But what I want you to know is that when you know how to use the content that's been pre-created in here for you, in the sequence and the steps to move people from one category to the next, you're going to appreciate the fact of how slick and fast and easy it is to do some of this stuff. So for example, if I went down to, let's go down to credibility, right? Let's assume that we already have a relationship with somebody. And we talked about before the other levers there. Well, I need to establish some social proof. Okay. Now I open this up and we have all this content in here. Let's see for referrals. So if I click on this one here, you can see here's what the pre-written message says. So it'd say, hi, Alicia, keep your clients happier by making good referrals. Did you realize, and this is real information, guys, so 72% of mortgage applicants are dissatisfied with their lender. Check out the details here and click on this link. I take pride in customer satisfaction. Keep me in mind for future referrals. Also, let me know if I can ever be of assistance. Thanks, Rocco. Wow. So now I'm trying to build I've got somewhat of a relationship with a realtor. I want to establish some credibility with them. And so I'm giving them information that they might not be aware of. There's an article in here that talks about JD Power.
JD Power Survey. And the thing that makes this one even more timely right now is that the realtors are terrified of their deals not closing, right? So this doesn't even address if they close or not. But if you can make yourself look better through social proof, and you're not putting anybody down, like nowhere in this article does it trash any other banks or anything like that, right? You're just saying 72% hold or dissatisfied with their lender, right? So now, like Rocco will tell you, you're creating doubt. You're opening that little crack, right? So if you have, so to answer the question, you go through these levers, and this is how you break in with a realtor that already has a lender.
And the neat thing about an article like this is that the way that we've created this for everybody is that, you know, it actually becomes it comes a personalized page for you. So we're not just grabbing we cite where the article came from and we give proper attribution to, but we have it on a page that's a capture page specifically for you. So, you know, you're going to have these nice pages that are designed for you on all content that comes out from the app, whether it's videos, framed inside landing pages. This stuff is already done for you, right? But the idea of an article like that, when we talk about social proof, that's saying, hey, look, 7 out of 10, you're referring to some other mortgage person now. You don't even know this, but 7 out of your 10 clients are not happy with the lender that you referred to them. And I can promise you this, what you're doing is something called problem aware. People do not care what your solution is until they know that they have a problem first.
Yeah.
You're pointing out a problem to them. Once they realize they have a problem, they go looking for the solution back to the person who let them know that they had a problem to begin with most of the time, right? So this is all done very strategically on purpose. And I'm just giving you sound bites. I can promise you when you get into this and you watch the training, you're going to learn all this stuff and how to utilize all this. But once we get down to a spot where we establish credibility, we talked about, okay, well, we want to try and get a meeting together. How can we motivate in order to get them to take action and meet with us? And we go back to this solution alignment thing. I'm going to pull up this Love Your Lender survey that Alicia created here in a moment, something you're going to send out here. But I go back to the power of questions here for you before I show you these specific questions. The reason why questions are really important, it's really multiple reasons. The first thing is that questions direct somebody's mind. So if I ask Alicia what color her house is right now, I've just hijacked her mind for a few seconds, and she's now thinking about something she might not have been thinking about before, right? So I'm planting a seed just by asking a question. The other thing is what I was teaching you all about prospecting before as well, is that one of the reasons we do it is to gather intel. When I ask a question and I get a response, whether I'm doing it through a survey or asking somebody something over the phone, when I get that information back, it sets me up so I can now position my offer better based on how they respond to that moving forward. The other thing that I like about what we're going to share here with these surveys and asking questions is it's a two-way engagement. meaning that that article is awesome. We've got some awesome video content and other little things that you'll be able to share out there that really props you up in any of these areas where you're trying to maybe build awareness or strengthen a relationship or credibility. But when you get down to asking questions to somebody and they respond, now you have two-way engagement. And that's a difference maker, right? Because that to me opens up the communication channel in a way that you just aren't able to do it with, no matter how fancy the video thing is that you send or any other landing page or something like that. So here we've created this Love Your Lender survey, and there's a survey for every category of potential client that you have. But I'll just pop this one open. So, you sent them over that information and you could say, hey, you know what? I want to send something over to you. Actually, let me do it the right way. Let me send it to you again, Alicia, just so folks can see how this would work here. So
and
you
can use these also for clients after the fact for referrals as well. They're totally different set. But we had Giovanni. I give Giovanni a shout out. I had a great closing, really difficult deal. And I messaged him and I said, hey, now's a good time to send them a request for referrals. He was like, oh my gosh, you're so right. Like, if you guys don't have these systems in place, and Giovanni was kind of new in the app, like, we're here to help you every step of the way so that you build these habits, right? When you ask for referrals, when you build the relationships, right? So it's so important. Sorry to jump in, but
I mean, so again, where it says hi and there's, you're going to load content. This is just a demo. So if I had Alicia load in there, I would say, hi, Alicia. I wanted to share a short and fun survey for real estate agents that helps me understand what makes a great referral partner for them. How many people actually take the time to do that when you're building?
How many LOs ask this when they get a face-to-face appointment even?
Right.
Very, very few. Like, this is the thing. The game has changed, right?
So then they're like, wow, you just separated yourself at a whole different level with something like this. And now they go and they click on it. And by the way, and we'll go through these questions here. There's not a lot, there's only a handful, and that's on purpose. But the point is that, like, I want to use Alicia's words. I don't want to use Rocco's words because Alicia's the expert. Now I can change that message up and make it a little bit more so if the person knows who I am, they know how to speak that. You can modify any of those pre-written messages. But in the beginning, I just want you to try as much as you can. Use the messages that are there that's proven and working. Is what Alicia's done her whole career, right? So why try and change something? Don't fix it if it's not broken. Don't reinvent the wheel. Now, when it comes to these questions, I'm going to scroll quick and then you can go through them one at a time. There's only 5 questions, right? And then if Alicia was already my contact, it would be pre-filled out. There's multiple ways to use these surveys, not just to do your prospecting, but also to go out and create new contacts to prospect too. Go ahead, Alicia, you can walk them through these questions here.
If you guys use this in social media, and again, we will teach you every step of the way how to use these surveys so that you actually generate incoming business with people who want to work with you. So I love this, short and sweet. Do you have a lender you're actively referring, you're sending your referrals to? This is a challenge most of you guys have. But then, in your opinion, what's the most important aspect of sending of a strong partnership with your lender, right? Let them answer these questions. They provide updates, they provide co-marketing, they refer clients to you, they close all the deals you send them, and then give them the choice, what's your optimal form of receiving communication from your lender? It's so funny because some realtors love text, some do email, some do phone. They're all different. Each one of us is a different human being. So if you guys haven't heard of the golden rule, do unto others as you would have others do unto you, I prefer the platinum rule. That's how I treat my referral partners, which is do unto others as they want to be done unto. I don't know what kind of proper English that is, but that's the way it works. And if you treat them how they want to be treated, not how I want to be treated or how you want to be treated, treat them how they want to be treated. That's a huge step forward in building a relationship with them. We also have desired level of follow-up. You guys know this, right? You got some realtors, nervous Nellies, right? What's happening? What's happening? Is the deal closing? Is the deal closing? Right? Some just want to know milestones, right? And the other one's like, I'll see you at the closing table. Call me if there's a problem. That's it, right? They got people who run their business for them so that they can actually be the big producers. Okay. Which of the following describes your relationship with your last or current lender? I love them. They're okay. I'm looking for a new lender. So, right? any of these answers is fine, but now you know where you are and you know a little bit more about them. These are key questions to ask, right? This is everything else you can Google. You can look up their production, right? That's a great way. Somebody had a question, how do I find, realtors to reach out to? I got whole separate videos on that. But you're going to look up their production, right? You're going to figure out, do they farm in a specific zip code? Do they do more buyer side or seller side, right? What if you're chasing seller side agent? They don't have deals for you unless you're going to offer to be their preferred lender. And then I got a whole different business line for you guys on that, how you can get that. But this is so important because the rest of a lot of this you can look up, this you can't.
Alicia, what this is like, there's so many other aspects to being able to have the system and tool in place. Just so you all know, when the person hits the submit button, all their answers populate right into the notes section on the contact card. I'll show you guys that before we wrap up here. But the thing is, any content that you push out from the app, when they click on something that gets sent from the app sends you a push notification back that lets you know the person is engaging with the information that you send it out. So when you send out a text message now, or you take an article link and you send it out, email and that sort of thing, it's one thing to know, that you're sending it out. Good, I sent it out, but also being able to keep score and know who's participating with you in the content that you're sending out. It's just so important, right? Because you will start to learn what your ratios are in your lead measure. Your lead measure is exposures, prospecting, and following up. Right? Lag measures is the appointments and sales that come from that. But again, that stuff is so secondary. So when you start to look at this app, and you'll see on your dashboard here, we're tracking, okay, how many exposures are you making, which is content being sent from the app, and what's your conversion rate of who's participating in that. And again, you'll start to see when you Jim Rohn say that when you start to realize your ratio, your business becomes magic. And because you can improve your ratio because you get better over time, but then you can predict your income and where you want to be at. You have to be able to predict that. It's too late to do something about it at the end of the month.
Right.
All right. I'm going to show off two more things. And again, Alicia, there's so many cool things in here. The thing about the app, and I'll just reiterate it one more time, is that you will not learn on purpose how to utilize all the cool things that are in here overnight. The way that the coaching, and I'll click on that here for a sec so you can see it, there's all kinds of different cool stuff in here, different courses and modules. But when we click on here, you'll see that this is set up so there's 15 days and there's certain modules for each day, and you're doing activity and you're learning how to use the app one step at a time, and you'll develop the habit that you need to really get your business in good shape. And again, you're going to put you'll be able to import contacts right from your phone and that sort of thing. Let's see here.
And then I'll just add some of these other questions. People ask for calling realtors and scripts and offering value. Scripts are in the app. We suggest you text or social media DM first before you make the calls. Because like we talked about, if you jump right in there and do the wrong thing, say the wrong thing, you have a higher chance of actually blowing up the relationship before you even start. Another question. So again, it's all in the app. Go through the sequence. Also, how to get an initial face-to-face FTF appointment with the top producer that already has an LO. That survey, I always show that survey for a reason, because, and again, it comes lower, right, on the sequence, but you go through those first two levers that you're going to pull, and then you get into that one. But that JD Power, right, that cracks the window open for you so you can try and get in there. And if you're having a challenge getting an appointment with, it said a top producer, guess what then? Go after 20 top producers, right? And just so you guys, I don't think Rocco bragged about it, but this app has a 65% cold conversion rate. That means cold conversion, the realtor doesn't know who you are. If the realtor has heard of you or maybe did meet you at a networking event or a closing, right? If you guys aren't going to your closings, go to your closings, right? Meet the listing agent on the other side, right? If it's a client that you didn't have the buyer side agent already, of course, go to the closing, right? And then of course, before the closing, every week your loan's in process. That's an opportunity for you to build these relationships with new realtors on both sides of the transaction, because they will return your text or reply to you while you're under contract and they're in process, right? Because they want their deals to close. So if it's a warm contact, what are the numbers for the warm contact, Rocco? Like 82%, 83% conversion?
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
high, you guys. It's amazing.
Yeah. And look, this is a way for you to control and all the things that you should be doing regularly. What I always say is that this platform is not designed to do the work for you. That's not what any of this is about. It greases the skids and systematizes it for you so your brain can concentrate on the steps that you're taking with them, not like, what do I have to do next? You just kind of play connect the dots here. So you're not constantly stopping to figure out your next move. It's all organized here. And, look, the truth is you could take 5 minutes a day if that's all the time that you have. If you have an hour a day, then you're going to wind up even seeing more results from, and you can go exponential. But the consistency of being able to go through with this each and every day a little bit, you're going to be surprised what it puts out for you on the other end. So again, we're going on here, so I could go on about the tool itself, Alicia, but important just before we wrap up on a couple of things here. You had some things here that we wanted to share, right?
Yep, absolutely. So 2 questions I didn't want to answer because I promised you guys, and I will get to those. I want to make sure I answered everybody who put in a question, so we'll get to that. But I wanted to go over, holy cow, everything you guys get inside the app with a paid membership. So you get the resource library with all the levers that we talked about. You get the pre-written email campaigns. You get the pre-written text and direct message campaigns, the pre-structured prospecting sequences. You get the hot list. We didn't even go over that. But when people respond to you, they actually become on a hot list. And that's when you know how to pick up the phone and you can schedule that appointment. Although we get such great feedback, sometimes it doesn't even take that much. It just takes a professional approach, which is the pre-written scripts. They do that for you. Okay. You get the activity log to track everything. You get the digital business card. You get all those prospecting details. I also added a course in there. It's crushing limiting beliefs. It's training for loan officers. You guys need this now more than ever, right? Do you get up every day and think it's tough out there? It's tough out there. You need to crush that limiting belief. So you get monthly office hours, live coaching with me and Rocco every month. We're on live on a Zoom. You guys can jump on, ask us any questions about the app, prospecting, sales, mortgages, training, loan programs, the market, whatever you want. There are pre-built surveys, you guys. We only showed you one. There's fantastic surveys. I mentioned Giovanni's success story, how to get that after a closing. Send it to your client, send it to the realtor on both sides of the transaction. Super powerful. There's also built-in opt-in pages for referrals, as I mentioned. And then you get the power of mass marketing like a big box mortgage company right in the palm of your hand. And there's so many more tools that are in there. We just summarized that value, $20,000 if you had to build all that yourself. Here are what some of our clients are already saying about the app. Kimberly, Chip, Maya, Jamie, Crystal. It's easy. They love the boot camp. It's the best way to get contact a realtor right out of the gate. Like there's just so many great things. And as I mentioned, 65% cold conversion and low 80s for warm traffic. And that's for buyers who are in your contact sphere who may not be buyers. And that's for realtors and then other strategic referral partners as well. So also you need hands-on experience, right? The last thing we want to do is just dump a bunch of, okay, here's good luck, right? I don't work that way. I'm not going to do that to you guys. So Rocco and I created a 15-day boot camp that will actually walk you through day by day by day. And I'll tell you, the first 2 days are warm up and playing. The other question we had is, should I load in all my contacts now? Wait till day 1 of the boot camp. You can load them all in.
Well, actually, you joke about that, Alicia, but no, I mean, in the boot camp, I'll kind of put a little bit on first. We only want you to let's just do a couple. Let's just get you to do a couple pieces of activity and check the box and give yourself some wins in the beginning. You'll start to see as it unfolds where you can add more and more contacts and you can import them right from your device. There's some quick ways to do it. But I would encourage you, you can always do a little bit more, try and go a little bit faster, but I want to build momentum with you all. I really do.
Yeah, so the first couple of days are just trying little steps. Then there's like 10 days where you learn one new thing every day. And then the last 3 or 4 days are actually routine because you've already created your routine. It takes 21 days to make a new habit. So we added 3 days mindset on the beginning to get you guys prepped. And then we do a few days follow up after just to make sure you do have the new habit. This is the biggest piece of this, right? You have to create a new habit of daily prospecting that you actually enjoy, right? That's one reason we have the hot list, and we've gamified it. So you actually can have a good time, right? Sit there with your morning coffee or taking your walk or whatever you want to do, or you're at the gym. This is super easy to do on the cycle on the your recumbent bike, right? Right? Instead of watching TV, just do your prospecting at 9 a.m. It's so easy. So 15-day prospecting, we have an entire resource library that walks you through the best practices so you get the most out of your contact list. You learn how to complement, enrich, and influence your referral partners. There's step-by-step instructions on how to actually use the app successfully. There's videos as well as PDFs for every single day and every single training. And I'm kind of old school, so I use the app on my phone. But when I went through this myself, right, and I watched all the training and read the PDFs on my computer, and then I executed it on my phone, right? So I'm reading, executing. Super easy. We made it so easy. You'll learn how to prospect one-to-many. We have a whole sequence for that. That's included in the boot camp. You'll learn how to increase your engagement with the referrals partners and how to run campaigns and events. You actually can set up events from the app. We didn't even go into that, right? We had a question about somebody who wants to do a home buyer seminar. You can do the whole thing out of the app. Amazing. So there's just so much. We put that all together, the $20,000. If you go to the next slide, Rocco, the value of the app plus the boot camp. And again, in the app too, there's so many other trainings. But that total would be 20,000, value of $20,997. If you're like, oh my gosh, is this a good time to start? Rates are up. I'm hearing bad news about the housing market. Maybe I don't want to do that. Let's remember that right now, because of the increase in housing prices, the average, this is the average commission for loan officers across the country right now is $4,230. $4,230. So if you're not getting that, that means you're less than average. But again, it's not your fault because you've been taught the wrong way. And that's why we created this system that can help you. So if all you closed was 5 deals a month at the average, right? And again, if you're not at the average, I can help you get there. Absolutely. If you're not at the average, I can help you get there. So if all you did was close 5 deals a month, you'd make $21,150 a month. You'd make $253,800 a year. We have such an opportunity in this business right now. But if you only wanted to close 3 deals, you'd make $12,690 a month, which would be $152,280 a year, right? If that sounds good for you, go for the 3. But I think you guys deserve more and you'll go for the 5. Either way, right now, recessions are when the most millionaires are made. Tony Robbins taught me this years ago, right? This is why in 2007 and 8, when everybody left the business, as a loan officer, I opened my first branch. I doubled down because I knew that I loved this business, right? And this list of companies, IBM, Goldman Sachs, Hershey's, Kraft, Marriott, Disney, right? Krispy Kreme, Burger King, GM, MTV, WhatsApp, Airbnb, MailChimp, Square, Venmo, Slack. These companies all started during a recession at some point in US history. And this includes me. 2007, 2008. I learned how to thrive while everybody else was crying and leaving. So are you going to be one of the next millionaires? Are you going to be one of the next millionaires that's made during this recession? I'd love to have you guys on board. We also are putting in there MLO Max, which is Mortgage Loan Officer Max. There's tons of stuff. It's a training library. There's so many things. I was just going over this again yesterday and the day before, just adding more value and more value and more value. There's so many different programs in there. There's so many amazing things that can train you guys with confidence. If you need organization skills, if you want to work on leadership skills, it's all in the app for you guys. So if we add that total in there, $19.97 for MLO Max, you're at a value of $22,994. What is the number one contributor to success? Accountability. When I'm on my coaching calls with my LOs, especially the incoming, the new ones, they want accountability. So if you decide to invest in the annual commitment for we're only going to keep this up for the next 48 hours. I will give you 12 weeks access to my private loan officer group, not the free public one, the private loan officer group. It's a very small group of loan officers. There's already 60 money-making lessons in there, and I go live every single week and answer any questions you put in the discussion. And if there's not questions in the discussion, then I will go live anyway and just give you a market update, tip of the week, something else no one else gets. This information is not available on YouTube. It's not in any other area in Facebook. You can't get it anywhere else. 60 lessons. So I wanted to give you that because if you commit to yourself, I'm going to commit to you. In addition, I'm going to give you a one-on-one strategy session, and we will design the exact roadmap you need to take your mortgage business to the next level. Whether you've been producing for 10 years, 5 years, 1 month, 6 months, whatever the case is, we'll dive into your mortgage business. You'll answer some questions ahead of time. We'll go over them together and then figure out what's the best path for you to take in today's market right now that's going to help you build your business. So you're going to get all that. We've made the one-on-one pricing sessions priceless. We put all the value in there. $19.97 for MLO Max, MLO Money Group, $9.97. That retails for $179 a month. We're going to give it to you for free. 15 days of the prospecting boot camp, which I think next to the app is one of the most important things besides the accountability, right? Total value, $23,991. Take a step back. And if all this did was for you was get you one new referral partner that sent you deals consistently without you having to cold call and do a bunch of manual work, would it be worth it? If all this did right now was help you recession-proof your business until the market turns again, and it will, and there's more demand, if it just help you get through and pay your bills right now, because I know some of you are struggling to pay your bills, whether you're brand new or been in this business a long time, the business has changed. If all this investment did would help you do that, would it be worth it? What if it gave you the kick in the you-know-where to finally get moving in the right direction, right? I have people that are in a slump, but they can't get going, right? Let's get this boot camp going and get some accountability so you guys can be successful. What if all this did was help you close one extra deal a month and help you overcome your fears so you can actually live comfortably, create a mortgage business you love working on and in, give you back more time to spend with your fans, with your friends and family, enjoy your hobbies? Would that be worth it? So you can see why it's a great deal at $23,991. You can see why it's an even better great deal at $5,997. But of course, I'm always trying to give and add more value everywhere I can for loan officers, especially right now. So you can see it's an insane deal for $990. That's it. That's 1 year access. You get all the bonuses, one payment of $990. And you guys can get started at LOReferralsecrets.com. I will go ahead and put that in the chat and in the group so you guys can see it, but it's loanofficerreferralsecrets.com. And make sure you sign up for the yearly plan. It's the annual plan, not $99 a month, does not get you the one-on-one strategy session, does not get you the extra boot camp, does not get you everything else that we listed. This definitely does not get you free access to the private Facebook group. Okay, that's super exclusive. So you have to do the $990 sign up and you get all the bonuses in the next 48 hours. If you sign up after that, it'll be too late. So we're giving you the fast action taker bonus. You must buy, I'm sorry, my bad, 24 hours, not 48, because we want you to take action. It's not like it's $5,000, right? We went through all the value to stack it up because it is well worth over $23,000. It's less than $1,000 with one payment on your credit card to get started. So again, you get the 12 weeks access to MLO Money Group with over 60 trainings. We meet weekly in an intimate group plus one-on-one strategy session with me. So you don't want to miss this fast action taker bonus. And we will give you a 30-day action-based guarantee. If you sign up today and you go through the prospecting boot camp, you do all the trainings, and if you're not satisfied, I'll give you a full refund. And you can still keep the app, you keep all the contacts you've added to it and all the actions that have been taken. So I'm handing you $23,000, over $23,000 in value for one payment of $990 for the whole year. You get access to the app, plus 12 weeks MLO Money Group, plus you get the 15-day boot camp, plus you get the one-on-one strategy session with me. And we give you a 30-day action-based guarantee. To be clear, we can absolutely see in the app if you are doing the trainings and if you are adding your contacts and if you're reaching out to your contacts. So if you think you're going to get in there and actually not do the work, I don't want you. We don't need everybody, right? I want to help those people who want to succeed and be successful in today's economy, in today's challenging environment. All right. So 30-day action-based money back guarantee. Again, we're going to know whether you actually did the work. So if you don't do the work, you don't get the money back. So if you're not going to do it, just don't start. But if you want to be successful, don't miss out. So I ask you, what would one good referral partner be worth to you? Right? I just gave my referral partner the $1.3 million deal. He's given me plenty of those in return. Right? What would that be worth to you over the next year, over the next 5 years, over the next 10 years? And the real question is it worth just a few minutes of your time to check this out? And even if it does half of what I claimed it did today, it would pay for itself in just one closed loan. And in fact, it's over a 4x return on your investment. 1 year investment and a 4x on your first deal. I don't know how to have any numbers that are better than that.
No. Yeah, there's I'm like looking at it, I'm like, did you really give that away too, huh?
Yeah, because Rocco's like, oh, I didn't know you were gonna add that in. So yeah, I mean, it's a challenging time in the market, and I want to do everything I can to help loan officers right now. So
Awesome.
That's it. So loan officer referral secrets. I'm going to make sure that that's in the group for you guys. You have 24 hours to sign up. And again, for those of you guys who DM me the money emoji, right? We will also give you for free the money making appointments guide. Just DM that to me and we'll go ahead and send that over right away. But don't miss your opportunity, because in 24 hours, all these goodies are gone. Yes, you can get the app, of course, but you won't get the one-on-one strategy session. You won't get the MLO Max. You won't get the MLO Money Group bonus. Okay. Any questions? Let me just make sure there's any questions that I did not answer, because I want to check my notes for that and make sure I delivered everything as promised, as always. Okay, Realtor scripts, load up agents and emails. Yeah, you can go ahead and start doing that now. Download the app, get that going. The other question was how to use social media effectively to build my brand. Absolutely. We can talk about that because there's actually a whole course in MLO Money Group. In MLO Money Group, you guys also get the hidden referral secrets, which I mentioned Brandon and Julie's success at the beginning. You get that in MLO Money Group. And then the other thing you also get is the hidden referral secrets. And then also, let's see, social media. Oh, Ultimate Virtual Networking Masterclass. That will exactly teach you how to use social media effectively to build your brand. That's another bonus that's in the MLO Money Group that you guys get if you sign up for that package. And I think also we mentioned a little bit briefly, you'll get the social media, how to market one-to-many also in the app. So basically 3 ways we're answering that question. It's all in there together. And then obviously we went through some of it today. So any other questions? I'm just going to check here. If you guys have any other questions online that I may not have seen, I'm just going to refresh while we look at that. We see. Todd wants to know, how are the contacts added to the app, manually or downloaded? So once you have the app on your phone, Rocco, can you show Todd real quick? So we have an import wizard. You can import them one at a time or a whole ton at a time. Rocco's going to show you that real quick.
Yeah,
and if you guys have any other questions, I'm refreshing. So by all means, feel free to ask.
That should move this over here. So, let me just do this, guys. So, and when you go to contacts, let me see this down the bottom, you see this plus button, this green circle. You can manually add a contact there. When you're out and about meeting with somebody, if you have contacts that are in your device already, you could click this import button. And again, this is going to be in the boot camp. It'll walk you through it. So I'll just show you if I wanted to choose multiple contacts, the phone will, it'll sync up with my device. And then I can just manually choose which contacts that I want to bring in from my phone. It'll bring up the entire database of contacts. I can just check them off one at a time there for me. The other option that you have is the ability to, on the desktop version login, you could import a CSV file if some of you are still working with something like that. But yeah, that's how we handle that one.
Okay, let's see.
And by the way, if you do post again, I don't want to try and get into all the training now, but some of the other lead pages that you'll find in there, when somebody hits the submit button, and if they're not a contact already in the app and they fill out a form, it'll capture their information and create a new contact out of them for you as well.
Okay, and I put that in there, so excellent. I don't see you. You're welcome, Todd. Thanks for staying through the training. So I put that in there. Let's see. I don't see any other questions. Okay, guys. Well, we'll see you in the boot camp. It'll be starting in the next day or so. It's actually already in the app. So if you guys want to just jump in there and get started, you can do that as well. Just run it yourself. And it's super simple. And we'll also have some updates for you over the next few days, because we'll do that mind piece for you. So get in there in the next 24 hours, and then we'll start the boot camp mindset on Monday.
Thanks, Alicia.
Thanks, Rocco. Thank you guys for staying to the end. As always, cheers to your success.
See y'all later.